Oh, what is going on, everybody? My name is Japes. Welcome to what I am going to be calling the Treble. Los Treble. Well, any other name that you would like to go for the Treble. And so the Treble is going to be to win I think we're winning the FA Cup, the Barclays Premier League, and the Champions League all in one season. And we are going to do it with Portsmouth. So it's going to take a little while. And with that said, we're going to go ahead, and the goal here is going to be to build up the academy and simulate all of the seasons up until the season, either around the season that we can get into Champions League football. And hopefully, ideally, we'd be able to simulate to the point where we will get Champions League, and then the last season, then we'll kind of play it. But the episodes are going to be fast and furious, kind of leading up to that point, or trying to get into it. The first one's going to be slow because the transfer windows are always going to kind of take a little bit longer. Or at least to start, I'm going to be a selling club to start because I want to get as much money as I can to get your five-star scouts. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts, no other way about it. In career mode, those five-star scouts on experience and judgment are the way to go. You get star after star after star, and that's what we're going to try to do with this club. So we're getting some objectives here. Domestic Cup, round of 32. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but because we're simulating everything, like the objectives, they're good to keep in the back of your mind. But realistically, I just have to be careful not to sell too many players. So trying to get the scouts and build up my youth system, eventually work them into the first team. We're going to go ahead, and I don't want to look through the emails for all of these scouts. I will think and consider buying players in the future because, it might be nice to bring in some other talent when I get up to the BPL, and hopefully, cross my fingers, get up to the BPL and have some monies to be able to kind of bolster the squad and build that depth, because that's one of those things that I'm kind of concerned about. But we're going to be moving over to the false nine formation. Personally, one of my favorite formations to both play, and I just like the idea of it. It's basically, if you look at it, it's your 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, but instead of your strikers using a left wing and a right wing. So if you have two players that are pretty good, and I briefly looked at the roster and I thought, okay, Bennett and Evans are two of the players that I think are kind of stronger on this roster. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in positions to succeed and hopefully go out and win some games for me. So I'm working things around slowly. We do have a decent bit of depth. Some players are on loan. There are going to be some players that I know I won't use. Unfortunately, I can't sell a lot of my most expensive players on, but bear in mind our goal is to win the league, and that's the goal that the club has given us, or the board has given us as well. So we're going to be doing our best to do that, and that means you can't sell all your top-rated players. But what I am going to go do is I'm going to go ahead and scout a future star. We'll do this for the first 2 seasons probably. Or this season, I'll maybe do one again next season. You can only do one each season, but I think it's nice to be able to bring in a youth player that could be like, oh, did you see the goal from Dele Alli? Oh my gosh, that was magnifico, extraordinario. And that just makes me think of like the youth players that will hopefully get in. It's so much fun for me getting the generated players. It's one thing to go out and buy your Messis, your Ronaldos, that sort of stuff, but for me, I totally dig the generated players coming in and building it up that way, and the no names kind of taking it over and going to the top, which is what we're trying to do. Of course, the name is Hopez, which is a name that I refer to as an alter ego of mine from time to time. So that is, we're JP Hopez, which, well, it is what it is. So we're going on. I'm going through. I'm going to list some players to sell on. Hopefully we'll get some nice bids, checking out who I can and can't. There are a lot of players that have recently joined the club, so can't sell them on right away. But over time, hopefully we'll be able to progress and do that. Now the question here is going to be, well, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys all the results simming kind of through as it happens. So you'll see it kind of bang, bang, bang real quick and get to the different windows and so on and so forth and kind of like build that way. When I sign new players for the academy, I'll show you that. When I sign them into the club, you'll see that and all these different things. So first, Connor Chaplin here, we're trying to send him out for a little bit more. He's a player that maybe would show some potential, but realistically, he's not going to be starting over my 2 other strikers at the moment. So selling him off would not be a big deal, and we do get some successful action right there to get the big money scout, the 5-star that we want. I think it's 2.8 million pounds, which is a chunk of change, and we need to sell some players. It's a risk. It's a bit of a gamble, but from time to time, the juice is worth the squeeze. The risk is worth taking, and I think that this is one of those situations where you want to go out and do it, because if you get that, you can get, like, I've seen a 16-year-old come in as like a 70 rated player already. If we get one of those, we're smiling, because that is awesome. Also, the training system this year makes building your youth academy so much fun and so much better. I've been loving career mode relative to Ultimate Team. So we're trying to sell on Mr. Matt Tubbs, trying to get 400K for him. It says he's worth 275, but he's 64 rated, and if we can get 400K, that'd be a big deal. That would be a nice bonus. And you can see they offer 275 right there. Not what we're looking for. Go down to 395 to say, hey, Huddersfield, we're playing ball. If you would like to work with us as well, we might go down a little bit more, but I'm trying to make some money on him because I think it's McGurk and McNulty, who is on loan, are perfectly competent, perfectly capable strikers that would do a good enough job to help me kind of win the league. I'm only playing a one striker slash center forward formation. There you see it, 395, not too shabby. So they decided to shell out for that, and that is a good bit of business. We're trying to sell Michael Polk right now. And so get up to that point where we can spend that 2.8 on the 5-star, and then send him out for 9 months. I like the 9-month scouting. I don't like the 3 is not a bad thing. But I think 9 months, you really, if you're unsure of players, you kind of get to let them go. So we get Anthony Deslandes as our scout future star. He is from France, and he has come back to us. He's a CDM, which is... would I love a striker center forward? Yeah, don't get me wrong, I absolutely would. But one thing you gotta love about CDMs on career mode is a lot of times they can play either CM, CDM, or center back. So I was very pleased with the versatility that he would potentially offer. Checked his preferred positions. He's CDM and CM, and that will allow us to kind of be flexible with the squad. Now we have a cornucopia, a plethora of depth at the center mid position right now, which is both good for the future because we'll be able to sell them on. It's good for depth, but it's also kind of bad because they're all very similarly rated at this point in time, and that means that they're going to get annoyed that they don't get the playing time. And this is what I'm talking about with the training. It's so good, especially with the young Anthony right now. We're going to go ahead and train him shooting, passing, long passing, dribbling, defending, all of these things. And he's slowly going to get a little bit better. Get a rating. You can see his rating go up. It is super entertaining and super, super addicting. So beware. If you start a career mode and maybe you want to do this treble journey along with me, and tweet me and let me know how it's going. Which my Twitter, of course, is @AirJapesFIFA. You guys know that. Also trying to sell Ben Close right here. I'm just so happy with all of these guys that are potentially going to be leaving the club. It's just a good thing. It's good for business. But we're going to go ahead and get into our first match coming up here. Now, I'm not going to put Deslandes in right away because you kind of have to be 62-ish rated to get into my midfield right now. He's only 56, but with how you saw... He's the only player in my youth academy that's got the promising little graph on him. So he's the only one that we're going to be training right now. We do have Clark as a center back who has it, but he's on loan. And frankly, I'm not going to spend my time training those loan players. So on we go. Our first match versus Cambridge. And they're running a 4-3-1-2 formation. Matches up pretty well with us, and I was like, so when you sit here with the sim, I sit here and kind of like twiddle my fingers. I'm like, come on, boys. Which some of you guys are going to be like, James, why don't you just play Football Manager? Then you can watch them and all sort of things. But I'm a FIFA guy. It's one of those things. That's how it goes. So not the start that we were looking for. Very, very unfortunate that we couldn't squeeze more than one goal out of the first game, but that is A-okay because we have a long way to go. Anyways, guys, that is where we're going to come to a close in this episode. I want to thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Other than that, my name is Japes, and I will catch you all next time.